Bitcoin made its way down to the massive, crucial support zone at this range point of control around $103,000. What happens next is going to blow your mind. I'll be talking you through the trades, the setups, what we're looking at next. And let me actually start by telling you this. We just saw the first red week on Bitcoin in 2 months. So we finally got a red week on Bitcoin when you look at the weekly charts on the candles. So the question that you're going to be wanting to ask yourself is, this stems after the failed auction above $110,000 into all-time high. After that failed auction, we have seen a pretty significant pullback. But again, we have got a significant pullback for the first time during this trend into a really big support, which is the range point of control. So you really need to be a bit nimble on your feet, understanding of probabilities. I will talk you through in this very video everything that you need to know. If you do not listen closely, you will lose profits. I'm sure of it. I'll be talking you through some real high probability changes in the market, from where we can flip from bullish to bearish, support to resistance, and the outcome. I want to say the importance of this trade and the outcome of the week ahead, but I'm thinking to myself the importance of the month ahead. The start of June, we have just started, of course, today on the 2nd of June, and yeah, we've hit the biggest support here locally on the chart. So with that said, I hope that you listen closely, because the information I will share with you not only is crucially important, but I know it will help you greatly. So with that said, let's jump back over to the charts and what a week ahead we have. So if you listened closely, to my very last YouTube video, the end of last week, I was talking about an aggressive long trade of around $103,000 at this point of control. You can go back to minute 29 and 23 seconds in my last YouTube video, where I talked you through this, a little bit of a move down to around $103,000 range point of control. And this is where it lined up an aggressive, okay, so this is where we call like trying to snipe the low, an aggressive long trade option. What was the alternative? It was a reclaim of around $106,000, which gives us a market structure change and a reclaim of a big support resistance level. So I had two options for the long. Again, on this drop to the downside, I was only interested in the longs, and it was either the reclaim or a move down. And well, what we got next was a move to the downside, but I wanted to pair that with, of course, a good understanding of the order flow, a nice reaction, and that's what gives us the aggressive long trade, which I took. So this was back on the 30th. So 3 days ago now. Man, time goes quickly. But I added to my swing long trade at the range point of control. It was the aggressive entry that I was talking through on the YouTube. And here I am updating the champion members, as I'm taking the trade. It felt like it was a great opportunity. Falling through, of course, we fell through the daily. We had a daily around 106,000. Then we had a daily naked point of control around 105,000. And so I just felt, a lot of people that are waiting to long this zone. Then also the CC, remember, we hit into the CC, which was from low to high. We also had the CC in here, which we fell also through. So it's like we fell through the daily naked point of control, the CC. I felt a lot of people that were interested in the longs have now taken their longs and all been stopped out. And so I felt that the point of control now is really the last good level here. And seeing how I believe a lot of people that are interested in longing around this zone probably have taken the long already and lost it, they have a lot less interested in taking the Friday night long. So yeah, I really simply took it, took my long, went to sleep. There was a little bit of a little bit of another retracement overnight, but for me, this is a swing long trade. My stop loss down and around $100,000. So I also wanted to just really briefly talk you through this, that some of my best long trades are where I'm feeling really bearish, and some of my best short trades are when I'm feeling really bullish. Intuition helps in trading, but I have learned not to let personal bias stop me taking good trade setups, trade the charts. Why do I mention this? Because at this point in the chart, I think myself and a lot of others, right, where there's this like personal bias where, undeniably, to be fair, like you have bearish local market structure, you have a lot of people around you. Again, now it's starting to look good again, but when you're at the very lows, everything is feeling really, really bearish. And so when I'm taking this long trade, happily taking the long, and then the updates throughout the weekend, we see the daily open reclaim, which was around $104,000, added even more to my long trade on the reclaim. Then last night, just before the CME open, feeling quietly confident in the Bitcoin long. But, that confidence, it's coming again after the nice traction from the point of control, then a daily open, then a lower term time frame market structure change. Right, you start to gain more confidence in the long, but upon actual taking that long, aggressively taking and trying to snipe the absolute low, I think it's fair to say like our personal bias is a little bit bearish, and that's why you have to ignore that kind of personal bias, ignore that like fear. And trade the chart, take the long trades. And so I felt this was interesting. And if you refer back, to last week, the start of last week, I took a short trade on Bitcoin, and I took that short trade on Bitcoin while I was actually feeling my personal bias was really bullish. And so I was feeling really bullish. I took in the end, it ended as a really nice short trade. Made our way all the way down to $103,000. And at $103,000, we start to feel a little bit more bearish, but I still took the long trade, and we'll wait and see how it ends up. But so far, it's a profitable trade. And I just felt this was a really funny bit of insight, actually. Current entry there, you can see average entry, of course, $103,056. And pretty happy with the entry. Daniel, did you buy the dip? I am the dip. And so, that talks you through the past few days. And now we're going to move on to what are we looking at next? As I said at the start of this video, we have seen a failed auction. Remember, this was the failed auction of all-time highs you actually ended up getting here. I'm going to come down on a lower term time frame because what we're seeing right now is very similar. You went from failed auction, and then this is the support of that failed auction, right? So this is the support zone of that failed auction. You can see support, support, support. What happened? That support flipped into resistance. So you get this thing, there's a really simple support resistance flip. And that is after the failed auction of the all-time high. Okay. And so after that failed auction of the all-time high, we have made our way down to around $103,000. The actual low being there, 103,000 on Bybit USD. You can see the low, 103,075. I have this long open on the Tether pair, $103,056. You can actually see the low on the Tether pair here on Bybit, $103,036. So not too bad here, how this is progressing. So that then leaves us to thinking to ourselves, okay, is the low in? Or alternatively, have we seen the failed auction, a retest of the failed auction low, big move to the downside? Are we about to just see another retest and another big move to the downside? This is where you have to understand probabilities. This is like really what I emphasize always to the champion members. It's not just a simple case of long taken, we're going to be guaranteed a massive rise to the upside. It's a case of understanding strength, understanding weakness, understanding probabilities increase, such as when we reclaim the daily open, adding onto the trade. Why? Because that is another sign of strength. And then from $104,000, this would have been on Saturday. I added Saturday's daily, from the daily open of Saturday. Then at around 3 p.m., we've reclaimed the daily open, so I'm adding to the long trade. So I understand the aggressive long at the low. Okay, great. I'm in a nice trade, but then I can add on slowly as we start to see more strength. And because that's what it's changing the probabilities that the low is in. So let me talk you through then what we're looking at next. And, is the low in, or, are we about to see a bigger move to the downside, which, just because I've taken a long, I still understand we can see a move to the downside. And so I think that we have a key level, which I've been talking you through, and it was very similar to the level here. Remember the level that we were waiting for a sign of strength above us, the aggressive long, which is the one I went for, or a reclaim. You can see that was around $106,680. We can see we have a high here at around $106,400. So we have this really key zone of resistance from around, I really think from 106,000 psychological up to around $106,700. And to be fair, when you think about it, when we take this previous range and we look at the value area low of it, that comes in at $107,000, let's call it $100. Can you see how we have a really big region of resistance just above us now? From the previous range value area low, 107,100 to the local high here. This is what I class as a really key level of resistance. Really key level of resistance. Where right now, again, I've taken the long down here. I've been very open about it everywhere. This is why I would say if you don't follow us or you don't follow me over on X, Twitter, you really should, because, I do YouTube videos, 1 or 2 YouTube videos a week. I am posting on X basically every single day. So, you would have known I was in this long back on, when I took the long, right? Back on, what is this, on Friday, if you follow along over on X. Took the full long trade here at 103k. Yeah, this was a bit of a joke with this James Wynn guy. I don't really care about this guy anymore. He went from $0 to $80 million to $0. So, but if you are on X, you probably heard all the hype around him. But I think the guy's irrelevant now. Anyway, I digress. He got fully liquidated at the low, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it was a technical reason why I took the long. But I did find that funny. Anyway, what we're looking at here is, yes, this is a wonderful long trade that we're in profit right now, but we cannot get too excited because very similar to this scenario, right? We had a really nice, we broke all-time highs, we back tested it, we lost it, we flipped it into resistance. We got to move to the downside. So what can we be looking at here? We'll look at this support. We have now lost it. So support, lost. We need to be careful of the retest here and then coming down again lower. So what do we want to see for a first major sign of strength during this move to the downside? Wouldn't it be this? It would be getting back above this level. And then instead of getting a rejection to the downside, it's flipping that into support. And then if we can flip that into support, we would say there's a massively high probability of a bigger rise to the upside, right? So that's when we'd start to look at this. And so for me, this is really key. So I would say, yeah, this was a high probability trade that I took, but I recognize that this now above us from 106,500 to 107,100 is a really key bit of resistance that I would love to see reclaimed to give us a rise. This opens the gates to a really nice rise to the upside. Again, doesn't mean all-time highs, because it's not like from $107,000 there's no resistance at all to $113,000. You can see here we got a range point of control, of course the value area high, another daily naked point of control. There are levels here of potential turnarounds, because what I don't want to kind of say here is, oh yeah, you can get a reclaim and instantly you're going to go all-time highs. It's going to work something more like this, right? We'll get a reclaim, we'll come up to around 109, and then maybe here you get a rejection, and at this point you can of course look for an intraday short trade. And you can look for it to then do one or two things: full-blown reversal all the way back down, or for it to type of get a reclaim of what would then be a support into resistance, back into support to support your move to the upside. It's always an ongoing game of probabilities, understanding the next big support and resistance levels. I know a lot of people in this kind of space, they want you to, they look for these YouTube videos, not just mine, but, they'll be going on the YouTube videos all over the place, right? Searching for this guy that's kind of going to tell them what's going to happen. And they love the channels, really. They love the channels that just go on and say, long, we're going up, just feeding into their bias. People generally, this is how it works. They'll have an underlying bullish bias, or they'll be in long trades, or they'll be in underwater long trades, and they will just search for the YouTube, but it's super bullish. Why? Because that kind of fits with their bias. Hey, they're going to latch on to that, and then they also have a reason if that trade loses, they're just going to blame the YouTuber, and that's kind of how it works. Or the alternative, you get a bearish guy that's in underwater shorts, and they're going to latch on to the YouTuber, which is like, this is so bearish, this is going to go down, right? They just try and find someone that plays their bias. And if you look at, the massive perma bull and the massive perma bears, they have millions of subscribers, right? All above hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers. And, we're here providing real analysis, providing high probability trade setups, right? Our trades are good. Our trades are winning, but we're not out here screaming, massive bullish every video, or just bearish, right? We're not on those extremes. extremes. We're actually focused in the middle in a style which is hard for people to grasp. What I teach when you've mastered trading, what I talk you through is like a really, really, really good understanding. But for a lot of intermediate, newer traders, what we teach here, I'm not going to say is easy. It requires a real understanding. It's not something that you can pick up in a week. But once you start to train your brain, like our style of trading, you're going to be above everybody else. That's what I do now. You will be above everybody else in the space. But to get above and to get to be the best, it takes hard work and dedication that most people just can't be bothered to do. So if you are, watching these videos, if you're not skipping ahead to the magic lines, if you're listening, you are going to see yourself improving day on day, week on week, month on month, year on year. I write yourself a challenge now. Please just record, where are you right now in your trading? Take a bit of paper, pause the video, and just write, this is where I am in my trading. This is my general understanding. This is my general win rate. Okay, hopefully you have that bit of information. If not, just kind of guess. I'm losing the majority of my trades, so I'm doing okay. I have a base understanding of technical analysis. I understand 70% of what Daniel talks about in his video. Record what you've got today, and I challenge you to come back in 1 year and see. And again, not come back in 1 year after watching none of my videos, but pay attention. Watch the videos from here to 1 year into the future, and you're going to see for yourself. Like, you're going to be like, wow, what I've learned and how I've improved in 1 year is mind blowing. And that is what you will achieve. But it requires you to turn up every day. Okay, or at least 3-4 times a week, right? Putting in some dedication into this. You're never going to learn it. I've said it once, I've said it again. Chart Champ is like a university degree. And, just as in university, you cannot expect to spend 10 minutes a day on a degree and pass it. Well, is it possible? Yeah. Is it possible to long around a altcoin and make money? Yeah. Yeah, you can get lucky, but let's be honest, that's like a needle in the haystack. Turn up every day, study, and you're going to walk away with good results at the end of the course. So that's kind of how I view Chart Champion. So yeah, ending with the outlook of the technical analysis. I think there's one thing that I want to talk you through before I get to the ending of the technical analysis, and this is from a little bit of a personal view that I like to have the personal touch in these videos. I do enjoy this, and I know a lot of you do too. And I actually wanted to just talk personally from my heart here, because many of you in this channel, you've been a subscriber not for 1 week, but you've been a subscriber 5-10 years or on the YouTube here. So you've seen how I've grown, and I think that's nice how we can connect like this. And so I wanted to just read through this tweet here and give you my perspective from what I see and how I feel about this. And truly, when I look back on my life, even a few years ago, I think when I look back at like 2021, 2022, man, I was crazy, right? I was just partying so much. I was living up in Colombia, South America, just your typical mentality of like, I've got money, I'm going to go and party, I'm going to go and celebrate. And, I at the time, I was having fun, we could say. But when I look back on it and how I really think and view this, I truly just say this from the heart. This is the message that I want to share, and that is having a wife, having someone to support you. When I weigh up the let's say pros and cons, the probabilities, when we look at everything, having a wife, having a secure relationship, like settling down, it excelled me not only in my personal life. I can say I'm in a much more healthy place than I was before, but also from a business perspective, a trading perspective, having someone that supports you, it really excels you. And so, the hardest part of trading is really having that support system. And that's why Chart Champions, we have a community of people that will support you. But okay, yeah, we can support you online, but if you then turn off your computer and you're in a stressful place, you then have to sort everything out. You have nobody helping you in real life. It's gonna be difficult, and so yeah, in God's time, but trying to find and secure and laying out your life in a way that again, do whatever you want at the end of the day. But I speak from my own experience. You know, settling down, finding a wife, having a family is just so much more amazing than having 10 different girls in a week. Yeah, it's fun. You kind of feel like the man, but it's not really that rewarding. It's very empty. And yeah, I truly mean it. Like, as a guy that can have it all and has had it all and does have it all, I would say, yeah, finding a wife is undeniably the best feeling in the world, and having a family, having your children, right? I think that's the real legacy. But again, I don't really want to like do it in a preaching way. You know, I just speak from my experience here, and that leads me to my last point here. You know, I love everybody, and I just want to mention this really quickly because I lost over 1,000 followers when I talked about this. And you know, this is not a channel dedicated. It's a channel dedicated to trading. But you know, at times I like to have these personal touches, and I say this: I love all races, religions, believers, non-believers. Like, for me, I view you as a person, like what you are. Like, I'm not viewing you with a lens of, oh, this guy's a X, Y, and Z. But you know, I love everybody. I want to be helping everybody. Right? I have no discrimination here. It's like, I am here for you always. And so I thought it was a bit sad that when I, you know, said, you know, I found Jesus, or Jesus has found me, and I became a believer. I'm still super new in my faith, learning every day. I'm really, really enjoying it. And to lose a lot of followers over that, I thought was a little bit sad, to be honest with you, but it is what it is. And you know, that's not going to change me and my faith. And I just wanted to say, yeah, that I don't know why that would have been the case really, but I just wanted to say, yeah, my love for everybody is the same, or it's even increased. I can only say my love has increased, even if you are XYZ non-believer. Like, it doesn't really, you know, it's not, I'm not even here to try and, I'm just here to share my trading journey at the end of the day. And yeah, that I am also a Christian, but yeah, I just wanted to mention, yeah, I'm not, I just kind of found it crazy how people were angry, I guess, or unhappy with that decision. It's you know, a personal decision. I'm not even throwing it down people's faces, right? So anyway, I digress on all of these two personal subjects. We come back to the trading side of it, and yeah, I am long. I am looking for $106,000 next, which I feel is a really key level. I have not taken any profits yet on this long trade, by the way. So, you know, no take profits taken. Got my entry. Next take profit will be around $106,000. So that's for me going to be the key, around 100, as mentioned, right? That key support resistance. And then from there, if we get a bearish reaction, then yeah, I will look to take a short or a hedged short trade. But if we can just get through this level, get the reclaims, then that's where it opens the door to a really big move to the upside. That for me is just so key, around $106,000. So yeah, I will say this: if you want these type of updates, of course, before waiting for a YouTube video, you want to know my thoughts as I'm taking my trades, you know, I'm getting no financial advice, but for the education, for the understanding, then you can get this via chartchampions.com. That's where you get live streams every single day. Igor's actually in a live stream right now talking through the charts. You get live streams every single day, every morning. You get live trading streams. You got the whole educational library in here. So to learn everything that you need, it's just a one-stop shop for everything that you need for trading. And on top of that, yeah, we have the community where you can connect with like-minded individuals who are striving and really wanting to improve themselves and learn. You can connect, have your study buddies, speak and connect with the mentors, myself, Igor Severin. You have a personal trading assistant that's answering, this is a real guy. He's not a bot, which some people think, a real guy here helping, answering your questions. So we've just set ourselves up in a way where we are at the level of being the best in terms of the educational space. Like, if you want to learn, this is the place to do it. So yeah, stop wasting time, stop losing those trades, and put your time into the education, and you will thank yourself. Anyway, I say this, thank you ever so much. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope that it has been useful to you. And yeah, with that said, thank you. Hope you've enjoyed, and yeah, I'm going to get this video uploaded. So cheers. Thank you. That's me signing out. Goodbye.